everyone, Rarity here. Time for another blind commentary. And if you're expecting a 10k sub special, that won't come until tomorrow. Sorry, I planned things out in advance since I'll be doing 4 somewhat special videos to celebrate this milestone. And I was just off by a day. Projected I wouldn't pass 10k until Wednesday. So today it's just normal videos, which means since it's Tuesday, which is my day for pony review videos, we got more Drowning in Horseshoes. Yep, Horseshoe Man is up in the rotation again, and I'm actually really pretty excited about that. The other reviewers I'm watching, they can be plenty entertaining, but there's something especially fascinating about the whole idea of Horseshoe reviews. I think it's that whole extra layer of parody it has going for it. And being I am watching these for the entertainment value and not because I actually want to know what a bunch of random people thought of these episodes, that just has me really intrigued. I want to know what he'll do next, where he'll go with it, and how crazy it'll get. I'm especially curious because today we'll be looking at the most viral episode of Horseshoe Reviews, his review of Bats, which has well over 1 million views, way more than any of the others. And we'll also be looking at his reviews of Power Ponies and Rarity Takes Manehattan while we're at it. Yeah, doing 3 this time, and the Rarity Takes Manehattan one is actually really pretty long, like nearly 20 minutes on its own. I wasn't going to include it, but I figured I would, I guess as a 10k plus bonus feature. It's going to make this video pretty long, a little longer than I'd like, but it'll be like another 5 months before I get back to doing more of his stuff, so I doubt anyone will complain there. Anyway, when it comes to these episodes on their own, I gave my thoughts on Power Ponies and Bats already when I looked at Silverquill's review of them a couple weeks ago. As a refresher for those who might not have seen that video, I think Power Ponies has some problems that bring it down, but it was entertaining, just dumb fun for me. Probably because I do like me some superhero stuff sometimes, and it was kind of appealing for that. Nowhere near a favorite, but it's satisfying enough. As for Bats, I kind of think it's a little broken. Fluttershy's argument seemed horribly naive to the point where after the Flutterbat tangent was resolved, Applejack suddenly agreeing with her, it felt like it came out of nowhere to me. And well, I think the episode does have a lot of cool elements, it just doesn't entirely come together for me. As for Rarity Takes Manehattan, I've never talked about that one before, and big surprise, but I love it. Yeah, I'm sure you're all shocked, like there's not even a point in me saying anything about it. It would just be positive things. Favorite parts, though, are the song Surrey's character and Rarity's hilarious breakdown. It's just great episode. Anyway, probably enough time speaking there. Let's go ahead and watch the video. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, those are horseshoes. This sounds familiar. The chiptune version of Pretty Fly for a White Guy?
So this was pretty much a throwaway episode. No big morals or continuity or character development, nothing really world-shattering. But that doesn't mean it was automatically bad. Power Ponies is an example of the writers just having fun and building an episode around a silly concept that's meant to be just that. Fun. We all can still appreciate fun.
That sign in the back.
Anyone? Nobody? Okay, what is wrong with you people anyways? Why is everything always such a disaster?
What does FH stand
Every week
for?
It's the same thing. This is the end! The show's forever! Worst episode of all time! Yeah! Give me a break. Season 4 has been fine so far. It's already had more decent episodes than Season 3.
Flutterhorse?
It might not be as amazing and magical feeling as the classic era of Season 1 and 2, but that's just because the show was new and exciting back then. It did feel magical to you because it was something you would discover just recently. It was a fad, it was hip, it was in, it was new.
Exactly.
Hold on to that novelty forever. So what you're perceiving as a dip in quality is really nothing more than you having become jaded by a number of factors, and I don't blame you. Hasbro has been evil, and they've made some heinous decisions, and the fan base has been pretty cringeworthy most of the time, all the time, constantly. Well, the show
Jack reacts?
Despite all of the drama and insanity circling it, has stayed pretty consistently good. Save for a few tragic missteps. I know it's been a bumpy ride, but if you really can't find anything to enjoy about watching the show anymore, nobody's forcing you to keep watching it. I swear, it's like you people enjoy being let down and disgruntled, so you put yourself in that mindset as soon as you hear the theme song. Well, if you go into something expecting to hate it and pick apart every little thing, that's what you're gonna get, isn't it?
Gonna have a bad
Couldn't agree with him more.
The moment this episode was announced, people were complaining about it. Most of you made up your minds before it even aired. A superhero episode? Well, that's just ridiculous. It's not as though this show is intended for children or anything. You can't keep treating every little thing like some huge shark jumping moment, because jumping the shark means nothing to a show like this. It revels in shark jumping. It did a freaking barrel roll over one at the end of season 3 and never looked back.
It literally jumped the shark. Episode 100.
It can't be stopped. It can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. It's like Macho Madness or Hulkamania, an unstoppable juggernaut of force.
More wrestling stuff?
Nature. Friendship is Magic is like the Engine 25 of cartoons. It flew off the track a long time ago, and not even the fires of hell could stop it. I, for one, enjoyed the idea of doing the old superhero episode. To me, it's just one of those classic TV tropes that never gets old. Every anime has a beach episode, every pro wrestling wedding ends in disaster, every science fiction series has evil doubles, and every cartoon eventually does a superhero episode. That was fucking terrible. That was a terrible take.
Yeah, drink more.
I don't feel like fucking doing it this
Oh,
week.
does it mean Flutter Hulk?
I don't know where the beer came from either. It's been a couple days, okay? Ooh, continuity. Everything's ruined. It's a fucking disaster. Whatever.
Power Ponies
Wow.
frames itself as a Spike episode, but it's not so much any kind of real character study as it is an excuse to just set up the gimmick. As the youngest and only male character of the main cast, he's the most obvious choice to be the one who's into comic book superheroes. Which, of course, annoys Twilight, because Equestria is a feminist dystopia where everything boys like is bad. Typical Twilight. If it's not a textbook or a trashy romance novel, it's not worth reading.
Porn and sex
that
education.
comics can be literature too.
Wow.
You don't know fucking Grant Morrison, bitch. So Spike is feeling useless, because he is. All he wants to do is help out with restoring the old castle, but for some reason they don't let him. It's a pretty big castle, Twilight. Why don't you just let him help?
Yeah.
You already have a bucket, just let him have a mop. Pinkie Pie's just fucking around, that's not helping. Send her back to the bakery and let Spike clean the floors. I don't understand what you're so afraid of. He wants to help, just let him help. Then they all get sucked into Spike's comic book and now they're all superheroes.
Master Matterhorn! Millisecond! Zap! Radiance! Mistress Marvelous! Saddle Rager!
Holy shit, Saddle Rager? That is literally the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Just take a moment and say it to yourself. Saddle Ranger! That is just so inherently awesome sounding, I don't even know where to start. It sounds like some kind of Wild West themed 80s hair metal band. It sounds like an American Gladiator. It sounds like a Mustang with monsters.
Yeah, it really does, kind
It
of.
sounds like a roided out cowboy hat wearing porn star. It sounds like some kind of underground anything goes horse racing circuit.
It could be
with
all of those
pipes and
things.
chains like in Road Rash. It sounds like a 10-story tall outer space horse monster who fights Godzilla.
Damn monster.
Spike takes on the role
Wow.
of Pony's hapless sidekick Humdrum and is forced to finally accept the fact that he's the Wesley Crusher of the group and always will be. And here's the arch-villain for the episode, the Maniac, who seems like a cross between the Joker, Dr. Octopus, and Sedusa from the Powerpuff Girls. And also a horse, of course. Mostly a horse.
Of course.
Smell my gack! Just put your nose close to figure out the smell. Is it good or is it gross?
Gak.
Well, how about that? It's a golden lasso of hoof. Oh, man.
There it is! Is that a shampoo factory?
Well, better that than the glue factory. Then a bunch of stuff happens. I don't know. Let's just say I make some more stupid jokes. They all get captured. Spike has to save them, but he can't because he's a loser. But he does.
Please,
Every pony knows you just keep him around because you feel sorry for him. Where?
That's not true. We keep him around to laugh at him, and also to do stuff for us. Fluttershy plays the Hulk role, and while it's a pretty obvious joke, it's still pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I can't wait to see the porn of this. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Great payoff. Pretty much steals the whole episode in about 5 seconds. Sorry, Spike, I guess you were right all along. Even in your own episodes, you're the least interesting part. The moral of the episode was, I don't know.
You don't have to have superpowers to be a super friend.
Yeah, that, I guess. Whatever.
So what's the final verdict on Power Ponies? Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was pretty good. Let's see how that score compares to other episodes from this season. How about that? Let's see how this score compares to other episodes from every season. Huh. Well, ain't that about a bitch? Am I weird for not hating this show? Sorry, I guess I just don't take it as seriously as the rest of you people do. I thought this episode was great. Or fuck it, maybe it was terrible. Who cares? Maybe that's my superpower, not giving a fuck.
That's a great superpower.
Maybe I am the wrong person to be reviewing this show. Who am I kidding? You Spurglords will be lost without me. See you next week.
I'm grounded in Horseshoes.
And now, a special message from the Horseshoe.
Oh, this'll be good.
Hey guys, did you know I also review video games? Wow! I have a new review up on my other channel for Grand Theft Auto 5, so if on the off chance any of you care about anything besides ponies, head on over there and watch. Click that link on the annotation, the screen, and Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa too, I'm on the nog. I hope you're spending the holidays with your families and loved ones, and not by sitting at your computer alone, editing a My Little Pony review like I'm doing. Holy shit. Silent Pony Night.
Oh yeah, Pony Night.
What is wrong with my life? Snuggling
Now a skull.
to a hooker's vagine. Can't remember the last one I seen. Sleep with pills and Listerine. Sleep with pills and morphine.
Ah, beautiful.
Apple bucking day.
Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time.
What the fuck?
Okay. That's one way to start a video. Fluttershy goes to hell.
I know I said last week that people take this show too seriously and expect too much from
Shikaka.
it, and that most of the episodes the fandom thinks is bad I think are just fine. But I think I jinxed myself, because this week's episode was a big steaming pile of fucking guano. The worst part is nobody fucking believes me. Everyone I've talked to said it was great. The one person that I've talked to said it was great. He's the only one who talks to me. At least the only one who listens to the show.
Now, before I start complaining about shit, I should talk about the one really good thing about this episode, and that's the song. The song kicks
the
ass.
song is awesome.
In fact, I think it's
Best
probably
part
my
for-
favorite song of the whole series. It's just so weird and dark and tonally different from the kind of songs we're used to from this show. Megan compared it to Danny Elfman, and if that's what they were going for, they nailed it. With
Yeah.
its gloomy, grumpy horns and spidery violins, it sounds like something you'd hear in hell. And it's easy to picture Applejack as the devil, rolling into town in disguise to whip everyone up into a murderous mob. And that's exactly what she does. Before long, she has them all circling Fluttershy and chanting like a cult, which actually comes off as kinda scary, and totally plays up the classic horror movie trope of who's the real monster here. Just like the angry mob storming Frankenstein's castle, or the planes that shot down King Kong.
It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast.
Kielbasa sausage, your butt cheeks is warm.
Pay attention to the performances too, especially
Tenacious
Rarity and
D.
Rainbow Dash. Their voices sound deeper, harsher, more aggressive, even angry.
I love their part on it, yeah.
Sounds like an outright villain here.
Well, I for one don't have a doubt these vermin must be
I love it.
It's just one line, but Tabitha delivers
Well,
it more like
actually
Cruella de Vil,
Kazumi,
the high-class
but-
sweetheart we've come to know and love. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
I love how as soon as the song ends, everything just immediately goes back to normal and everyone's all smiles and hugs again. Rarity's reaction is priceless.
Stop the bats, make them go and not come back. Stop the bats.
I'm sorry, Fluttershy, but I believe Applejack has made the better argument.
Yeah?
I also dig how it's framed as a debate between Applejack and Fluttershy with contrasting tones, similar to the song between her and Dash in May the Best Pet Win. But what I like most about it is that while it is very catchy, it also does not flow as nicely as the other songs in the series, and I'm pretty sure that was on purpose. I'll show you what I mean. Here, listen to this line.
Now wait just a minute, there's another side to this. And if I did not defend them, then I would be remiss. These bats are mamas and papas
Yeah.
too. They care for their
It is
young
kind of awkward, lyrically.
Oh, give me a break, you're being too canned.
Now, notice how the melody sort of veered off at the end there, and it had to take a second to catch up before Applejack's part? It's really jarring. Because of how seamless the first switch from Applejack to Fluttershy was, you expect the switch back to be just as seamless, and all your instincts about rhythm tell you that the line should go like this. These bats are mamas and papas too, they care for their young just like we do. I'll suck my dick, you yellow pink bitch. See what I mean? Now, disregarding the fact that I sing like an amputee, you notice how my version sort of flows better? It's just an old common sense rule of rhythmic verbiage. If you want the lines to flow together nicely, they should contain the same amount of syllables. But this song blatantly disregards that rule. The lines are too wordy and it screws up the rhythm. And believe it or not, I'm saying that in this case, that's a good thing. It happens a few times throughout the song. Certain lines are deliberately redundant and don't fit right. Extra words are thrown in to complicate the melody and disorient the listener. It makes the whole song sound janky and disjointed. Okay, get ready to have your mind blown, because what I'm saying is that the
Old
melody
Spice.
is purposely jarring and unpredictable. Exactly like the motion of a bat!
Troll 2.
Pretty sneaky, sis.
I get it.
What I'm saying is that the musical complexities and meta-subliminal theming of this composition are noted and appreciated.
Okay, now that I'm finally done
Wow.
talking about the part I liked, I can get back to telling you all why I've arbitrarily decided to hate this episode. One thing I did not appreciate is how right off the bat, this episode relies on hoof waving and overly convenient
Those
contrivances
puns.
to stop Fluttershy from just solving the problem immediately, like she should be able to.
This is the first vampire fruit bat I've ever met, and, well, it might take some time for me to really understand their language.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What's the problem? You've used the stair plenty of times before.
Yes, but it's not something I take lightly. I've made a vow not to use it except in dire circumstances.
Yeah. Or even more so, using it on Angel
Here's
to
some
get him to
good
eat.
chickens.
Despite this, I think the episode started out pretty strong. The conflict between AJ and Fluttershy about the bats was really interesting and had a lot of potential. They could have just made the episode about that, but they didn't. Instead, they went in completely the opposite direction by turning Fluttershy into a godless abomination that I would not have sex with, unless I was drunk. Like, really belligerently, irresponsibly drunk. We're talking rainbow draft levels of inebriation here.
Who's that lady on the magazine? What's her name? Is she a celebrity?
I
Is it
don't know.
Sarah Jessica Parker? Or is it Drew Barrymore? No, what's her name? I know what it is. Who's that girl? Is it Meg Ryan? Is that Meg Ryan? I think I peed on Meg Ryan's face. Help me wipe the pee off Meg Ryan's face.
Wow.
Help me pee. Help me clean up Meg Ryan. Clean up her. Help me. All clean.
Yeah.
Think of the cider. Oh, somebody, please think of the cider.
Ugh. Something about that line rubs me the wrong way. It seems kind of forced and corny. In fact, a lot of the dialogue in this episode was not good.
Fluttershy, you're our animal expert.
It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Oh god, Rarity, not you too. She's got the thing with the suit tail. Oh god, this show is just determined lately to kill my horse boner forever.
The witching hour.
What? Why would you say that? What is the context of that statement? You could have just as easily had the ponies looking scared and apprehensive without that line. Show don't tell. Bad writing. Boo.
Does every pony have their pony signal?
Again, what? Since when do they have these cutie signals? And also, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you will, but how is Rarity doing this? I can buy Twilight knowing how to do this, but I thought the extent of Rarity's magical abilities was telekinesis and gem collecting. Do all the ponies have pony signals, or just
Rarity has some other magic too
no, I
that
guess
she's
they
used.
all have them. Pinky's is a flashlight.
Remember a magic fashion show and
are they given
other
to them
stuff.
at the cute Sierra? Don't you think these signals would have come in handy during Castlemania? Or any of the other millions of times they were separated in the dark? Whatever. It's weird, but I don't even have time to think about it before something else comes out of left field and blows my mind. What is the deal with Pinky's hair? She seems to have learned a trick or two from the maniac. Somebody ought to tell her green isn't her color. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's weird and gross and just stop it. Oh my god, why does she keep doing it? Fuck! Gee, Pinky, you didn't even try giggling at it. The writers sure do seem to enjoy subverting Fluttershy's cutiness. So far, they've turned her into a vampire bat monster, a raging Hulk, and even a dirty, kikey Jew. This dialogue is so fucking blatant and lazy. It's not clever at all. It's not even trying to be clever. Even the title of the episode is lazy and unclear.
Yeah, the title is pretty terrible.
Just bats? That's it? Really? Usually the episode names are based on a clever pun or some kind of tongue-in-cheek reference to something. But nope, just bats. Is it supposed to be a reference to the movie Bats from 1999? No, fuck
Maybe.
me. I call bullshit. That is pointlessly obscure even for me. Fuck this episode's lame title, and fuck this episode. Look, I'll prove it. There are so many better things you could have called this episode. Night of the Meek.
Yeah.
Panic.
Wow.
Thanks for asking. Full dark, no stairs. Moonlit mayhem. Appetite for destruction.
Nice.
Bats in her bell tree. Low-hanging fruit. Apple flutter. Fluttershy becomes a fucking
Apple
vampire.
Flutter
These are just off the top of my
might
head.
mean something else to a lot of people.
I hate to say it, but this episode was clearly phoned in. There's no other explanation I can think of for how lazy the dialogue, plot contrivances, and even the title itself are. What fucking amateur wrote this shit? Meriwether Williams? Never heard of her. Sounds like some kind of corny 70s sitcom about a ditzy, curly-haired lesbian who don't take no... Just look at Twilight's contrived, idiotic explanation of Fluttershy's vampirism.
Okay, so this is me, these are the bats, and this is Fluttershy doing her stare. The spell was supposed to go right onto the bats, like this. But somehow the spell must have backfired. It took the vampire fruit bat's desire to be vampire fruit bats and transferred that desire into Fluttershy.
Yep, okay, makes perfect sense. I have no objections. If that's what you say happened, then who am I to argue? Oswald, carry on. I don't care about this bullshit. I quit. Go to commercial.
And smell my gas!
Again!
Nose close to figure out the smell. Is it good or is it gross?
So somehow they reckon they can use mirrors to get Fluttershy to use her stare on herself to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, make her normal again. Yeah, makes about as much sense as a collection plate in a synagogue. Since when is Fluttershy's stare an always-on passive ability? It's not.
Yeah, it really isn't.
She has to make a conscious effort to use it. She even says so at the beginning of this episode. Fuck you, Rick Berman.
Now, how about we celebrate our stronger-than-ever friendship with a nice, ripe, juicy apple?
Stand back! I want to suck its juice!
Holy shit! Do you know what's the worst thing about this episode? I was watching it on a stream, and as soon as it ended, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas started playing. And that's how I was left there.
Wow!
With all the tortured voices in my own head, cutting my hands, collecting the scattered shards of my broken soul, drifting alone in this black void of madness with no company but the echoing of my own screams throughout the vast silence of the emptiness inside me for all eternity.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Wow.
Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days. Happy golden days. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more.
Wow.
Horseshoes.
Okay. What? Wow. Very clean place he has there. And he's wearing a brony shirt. That's great.
Can't believe it's fucking Saturday already. Saturday again. What is it, 8 weeks now? 7 weeks? How do you people do this? 7 weeks in a row, overanalyzing a cartoon for toddlers. Look at me. Look at my fucking face. I ain't shaved my neck since I started this. Look at this fucking shirt I'm wearing. Brony. And this hat.
Of course.
I don't even
just
remember
embracing the
shit.
stereotype.
I'm literally just transforming into one of you. Like a strange case of Dr. Footwear and Mr. Horse. No, I'm not one of you, damn it. I'm normal. I'm a suave, handsome guy. I am not some run-of-the-mill, trench coat-wearing, autistic brony faggot!
Wow.
Holy shit. I gotta sort my fucking life out.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
That was a great intro. A lot to do with the episode. That face again.
Rarity
No sign this time.
Popular, among the fan base, I mean. It seems like her and Fluttershy are the ones that most often get picked as people's favorites, and I have a theory as to why. I think the fact that they're the two most overtly feminine characters in the show is what endears them to the lonely, virginal males who watch it. Nevertheless, despite the popularity
I think Twilight's most popular,
it's been
actually.
a while since we've had a Rarity episode. In fact, it's been since all the way
And
back
Rainbow
to
Dash,
season
too.
2.
I mean, I
now
don't know.
in season 4 and all bets are off, this train is going right off the rails in all the best ways, and we have a new Rarity episode, Rarity Takes Manehattan.
Okay, first things first. Ever since the preview for this episode came out, I've seen people complaining that Manehattan looks too modern and that it's raping their headcanons or something in regards to the show's fantasy setting. Well, all I can say about that is that it's a pretty stupid complaint. Equestria has always been anachronistic. You've got Wild West towns functioning next to medieval castles, and we saw modern skyscrapers.
Yeah, we saw Manehattan in
one.
season 1.
Little girls don't give a shit about the technological consistency of this world. They want to believe in a world where you can visit the big city and a medieval castle in the same day. And at the end of the day, that's who this world was designed for. Little girls. And it's not a matter of me using the "it's a kids show" excuse to wave away plot holes and overlook legitimate flaws. This is the way Lauren Faust envisioned the world way back before she ever knew people would care so much about this stuff. You can complain
Silver
about
Quill
plot
and,
holes, bad writing, character
don't even
inconsistencies,
recognize all of them.
corporate meddling all you want. But if you're honestly suggesting that the creator of this little girl's fantasy world should have been able to predict that something like bronies would be a thing, well then you need to go sit in time out and examine the flaws in your logic for a little while. Master Splinter's first rule was possess the right thinking. So instead of focusing your anger on things that don't matter, find something important to complain about. Like, for example, what the fuck is Rainbow Dash doing?
That is a weird walk animation.
So this episode really starts off with a doozy.
He just doesn't look right without the
Boys
beard.
and girls, children of all ages, come one, come all, I give to you the worst song in the entire history of the series.
Generosity. The name of the song, the chorus of the song, the song.
I like it.
We finally come to this point. They've given up. We're just gonna blatantly shout out the characters' elements as if that's suddenly their one and only defining personality trait.
Yeah.
Have the characters completely.
It is Rarity's
their
worst
elements to the
song,
point
but
of
it's
complete and total.
still Rarity.
And I hate using this term because people cry wolf with it entirely too often, but here it is: Flanderization. For the purposes of this song and for setting up the plot, Rarity's generosity has been turned up to 11 and taken over her brain like some kind of parasitic, mind-controlling generosity worm leeching off her frontal lobe. All of a sudden, Rarity is so madly infatuated with the very concept of generosity that it borders on decadence. She's like Generosity Bot.
Yes, have this generous tip, dear. This marvelous act of goodwill is sending shockwaves through my lady bits.
Oh, and by the way, unless you're a rapper or a pro
I'm
wrestling
great.
villain, it's generally considered a tad bit uncouth to be going around telling everybody how great you are. That's kinda something a bad guy would do.
I'm serious. This is ridiculous. She's literally just going all over town, patting herself on the back. Oh yeah, give Spike a hot dog carrot and make sure to remind him how generous you're being while he's carrying those fucking bags. Seriously, this is right out of a Disney movie villain song. Tell me you couldn't see Yzma or Madame Medusa or Ratigan doing this exact same thing. It's practically a trope. The bad guy says something about how nice they are while absent-mindedly taking advantage of someone. You're being a bad guy, Rarity. What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
It doesn't even make sense. Generosity does not mean stopping on the street to brighten every single person's day. This is a Pinky song. It's just Smile, reconfigured to be vaguely about Rarity.
Honestly, the only part of this song that wasn't completely terrible was this little visual gag here. Applejack. Get it? But the song is still stupid, and it's
never
dumb,
noticed that before.
And it's bad, and I don't like it.
But I do like this.
That's something.
I'm afraid getting a taxi at this time time could prove almost impossible.
Okay, now that's just ridiculous. Rarity should have no problem getting a taxi. She's white. Oh, and also she is a princess, but I keep forgetting no one in Equestria cares about that. Come on, guys, this is ridiculous. Don't you remember what happened to the last princess who couldn't get a taxi?
Yeah. Tasteful joke.
We're very important to be right away.
Not likely. She can get in line like the rest of us.
Yeah, you tell him, Squilliam. This receptionist looks like Garth from Wayne's World. I don't have a joke about that. She just does.
She kind of does.
I'm failing as a My Little Pony reviewer. I guess I'm not worthy. Oh, look, I did have a joke for that. We're introduced to a sort of foil character for Rarity, Suri something or other. I don't remember her name, and I don't feel like looking it up either. It's not important. Who cares?
Polo
Anyways,
Mare,
I like the idea of Rarity having a sort of Trixie of her own. Honestly, I hope she comes back because I love this character. Her voice acting is hilarious.
It is.
I don't know who does it, and again, I have better things
I think it's
to do
Tabitha.
So
Again, also, so it's Rarity talking to herself.
And Rarity also had a pretty good performance by her voice actor, Steve Blum. So, for the purposes of the plot, Rarity is conveniently on this psycho-generosity kick seemingly out of nowhere, and it bites her in the ass when she lends some power to Suri What's-Her-Name, who proceeds to totally fuck Rarity over by stealing her entire line.
And so, the moral is to never help anyone, because people are scumbags who will take advantage of you at the drop of a hat.
That's right.
Pretty ballsy moral, and a lot more realistic than what I'm used to from this show.
I have to say, I like these more realistic morals. I can't wait for the inevitable Bitches Ain't Shit episode, where Spike finally realizes how cruelly and maliciously Rarity's been friend-zoning him. After having her generosity taken advantage of, Rarity's friends offer to help make her a new line of dresses, but Rarity's now under so much pressure she begins taking advantage of their generosity, by being a sarcastic bitch and swearing at them, which is hilarious.
It is!
The scene is pretty good, but something about it rubs me the wrong way. Obviously, the point is that Rarity's going to feel bad about this later, and I guess if you're a stupid, poop-smeared baby girl, you're supposed to see this scene and think, oh my god, Rarity's being so mean to her friends, she's never like this. But to me, a brilliant, poop-smeared adult, it was a tad less effective because I'm aware of how in a more subtle way, this is exactly how she treats Spike in every single episode. I do dig the subtle theming at work in this scene. Rarity's introduction to the dog-eat-dog world around her and her interactions with Suri Polo Mare have gotten her so stressed out that without realizing it, she's in danger of becoming Suri Polo Mare. It's not shoved in your face either. It's just something that the viewer understands without even having to articulate it. So I guess you could say that the fact that I am articulating it means I'm wasting both of our time. Yeah, well, fuck you too.
To hear after how I treated you, taking advantage of your friendship the way I did, how could you ever see past it?
Yeah, you were pretty rotten.
Wow, Applejack. I know your thing is honesty, but come on!
Oh god, holy shit. Really? Really? Is this
That's the
really what we're
Final
doing?
Fantasy VI
We're
music?
just gonna start blatantly referring to everybody's element as their defining characteristic in the show? Even though the show has managed to get through 3.5 seasons so far without ever being that in-your-face about it before, the relationship between the ponies' elements and their personalities has always been more subtle than this. Impressively so for a children's cartoon. Yes, Applejack is honest, but it doesn't mean just bluntly telling the truth all the time. She's told plenty of white lies before. Applejack's honesty is more like the honor-bound, never-cheat-a-friend, dependability definition of the word. Rainbow Dash is the one who's known for blurting out the truth without thinking about it.
Yeah.
She's done it before. It's part of her character.
You're not a laughing stock, Rarity.
Exactly.
Looks like Suri's not the only one stealing other people's lines. Applejack literally just muffed up the whole scene, and Dash had to, like, improvise some excuse for it for the audience.
Oh, Applejack, good old element of honesty, can't tell a lie. This is why we have rehearsals.
The idea of Rarity's generous nature conflicting with her career sensibilities has been
Now he's back with a beard and
but in the
just a
past,
pair.
it's always been more of a back and forth struggle. Because Rarity is not such a fucking idiot, so willing to help every stranger on the street that she has no business sense whatsoever, which is how she's portrayed here.
I know that Rarity has let her generous nature get the better of her before, but at least in Suited for Success, it was because she was trying to do something nice for her friends. That at least makes sense, and I could understand how a person could get themselves in that situation. But now she's just being obscenely generous, giving to random strangers, which is completely ridiculous and not something that anyone could relate to, because nobody is like that. Unless you're an eccentric billionaire philanthropist, nobody acts like this in real life. It's just not realistic. And I guess that's what Rarity is supposed to learn in this episode, which would make it okay, except that it's not what she learns. The episode goes off in a completely different direction and spells out the moral as, I don't know, be nice to your friends, trust that they won't leave you to do your fashion show thing alone. Then at the end, everything works out for Rarity because Suri's assistant, just a second, let me look it up. Coco Palmel has a change of heart and gives Rarity her trophy, so in the end, it turns out Rarity was right all along. And that it really is just totally awesome to just give everything you have to every random stranger without ever thinking about yourself. Yeah, great lesson. Let's teach our kids to grow up and be beta fucking doormats who get their generosity constantly taken advantage of, because in real life, acting like this would not get you this nice little happy ending. I'm kidding. The actual lesson is not to take advantage of your friend's generosity. Which is ironic, considering that in the first half of the episode, it was Rarity who was getting taken advantage of. The whole thing kind of harkens back to Suited for Success. In fact, the exact same setup happens, but with the roles reversed. So, in a way,
some interesting text back there.
What her friends already learned in that episode, by being on the opposite side of the exact same conflict. So this whole episode works as sort of a reversal and a companion piece to what is still one of the most universally loved classic episodes of the series, which is pretty clever. The point of this episode, and of bringing up Rarity's elements so blatantly, as well as reminding people of Applejacks, even though that part didn't make any goddamn sense, seems to be setting up a theme of what we can expect to play into the whole overarching thing.
Yeah, that's why they're being so blunt with the elements.
Rarity is being deconstructed, and her element is being tested. I can only assume that from this point on, the other main characters are going to have their elements tested as well.
Yep.
I'll have to see for sure how the season plays out to know whether that's
keep showing that.
What they're going for,
it's kind of adorable.
Or if it's just speculation, but it seems both very likely and very appropriate. Here at the end, Rarity is rewarded with this shiny rainbow thread, and the episode ends with a lingering shot of it, giving off some magic glow. Ooh, mystery. Is this one of the keys? What's the significance of the rainbow? What does it all mean? I can't wait to find out. Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
So, like every episode of this show, this episode was okay, but I hated it. And I'll tell you all exactly why it pissed me off. Oh, sure, it's all well and good that Rarity learned not to take advantage of her friends, but the way the episode got to that conclusion was ridiculously contrived and depended on stretching Rarity's generosity to ludicrous proportions in the first half.
I also know that this lesson won't have any real long-term effect on the character. Rarity says she's learned not to take advantage of her friends, but I guarantee it won't be long until the next time we see Spike carrying her fucking bags again. What the hell do you call that if it's not taking advantage of someone? Hell, they all do it. Look at how they all fucking sit there and laugh at him, struggling with that mountain of luggage in the hotel room. I think at some point Spike needs to learn the same lesson Fluttershy keeps learning, as well as the lesson this episode seemed to be setting up for Rarity in the first half, which is that sometimes you have to take care of yourself and tell people no. Generosity is a great trait to have, but it should be reserved for people who deserve it, people you care about, people who need it. By the way, I have a Patreon now. You can't just give the shirt off your back to every random stranger you come across, because that's how you fuck yourself over and end up being walked all over and taken for a ride. I'm not trying to sound like Ayn Rand here, but search your feelings. You know that's how things work in the real world, and it's almost like they set out to say that, but then pussied out at the end. I know the point of this show is to be optimistic, but it's just a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. They dropped the ball. The song is fucking terrible. Rarity is out of character. The technology is inconsistent. No one cares about the princess. Fluttershy forgot how to sew. This show is not for kids, and it is meant to be scrutinized. Season 4 sucks, and Lauren's rolling in her grave. Fuck Kazumi Evans and her sideways Tojo cunt. Teabag Dave Polsky and fart on Meriwether Williams. Bats had a shitty title. Dance the Musical can suck my dick, and the Rum Tum Tugger can lick my bum cum plugger. 0 out of 10. This show is dead. The ride is over. See you next week. Alright, another review successfully in the bag.
Oh, God. God.
Horseshoes! I'm drowning in horseshoes!
Okay then. Wow. Yeah, I think I can say it now. I'm enjoying this guy more than any of the other reviewers that I'm watching currently. As charming as Anthony C. is, this guy, he's just on another level with his humor. I can't stop laughing watching this stuff. The Power Ponies one, that was basically just a rant against people taking things far too seriously, which was absolutely brilliant. And the Bats one, that was him perhaps taking it far too seriously to the point where he kills himself at the end, which was great. And then in Rarity Takes Manhattan, we see him kind of having this massive breakdown. It was just so over the top and absurd, and that mixed with the intentional badness and jarring, inconsistent presentation just made it a joy to watch, really. Especially with that third one, the ever-changing visuals as he was entering into the breakdown just added to it a lot. I love how he became an alicorn for a moment, and the sound broke down. That was great. Also love how he shaved at the beginning of the video and then sort of just slid back into the stereotypical brony look he started it with. And it remains that I seem to agree with him on most all of this stuff, which, yeah, still not exactly sure what that says. His Bats review, I can see why that got so much attention, as it really was a special piece. That episode has always seemed underwhelming to me, despite how favored it is in the fandom, and the best I was ever able to explain as to why was my whole thing with Fluttershy not having a very strong case, but that shouldn't be enough to have me saying it isn't as good as other episodes. I think he in this review articulated a lot of the things which hold the episode back for me more fully than I ever have myself, which was pretty cool. I think I now more fully understand why it doesn't feel especially cohesive to me, why despite having a really killer song and some bits I think work, it feels pretty flat. And I could also see where he was coming from on Rarity Takes Manhattan, even if I do still like the episode a lot myself. Rarity's generosity really is warped out of proportion for the sake of the whole key episode thing. And maybe the message of the episode is a little convoluted in how long it takes to come to it. It's funny and charming though, and I do like the song personally, even if I like all of Rarity's other songs more. And yes, before you say anything, personal bias is at work here, and yeah, it's Rarity, so of course I'm going to like it. Doubt we'll ever get a Rarity episode I don't, at least somewhat like. Oh yeah, and the Power Ponies one, I think I agreed with everything he said in that one. Very much mirrors what are my thoughts on that episode and people's perceptions of it. It's simple fun, I don't see why you need to really overthink it. So, yeah, very entertaining reviews. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Look forward to 5 weeks down the line when I do more. Oh yeah, I was looking at Horseshoe Man's channel and I saw that it starts to get a little interesting at this point. There seem to be 2 reviews for Rainbow Falls, a 9-minute one and then a half-hour one posted much later. Anyone care to explain that and which one, if not both, I should watch? Neither is on the Horseshoe Reviews playlist. Also, there appears to be a review of the Crystal Empire uploaded after the first Rainbow Falls one that also isn't on the playlist. That worth watching too? Let me know how I should do this, and I will. Anyway, hope you liked the commentary. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.
Piece by piece, snip by snip, group duck hard, shoulders hip, bolt by bolt, crimson pressed, yard by yard, always stressed, and that's the